What's up, guys? Welcome back to Wizarding Wiz, your source for everything to do with the Wizarding World. So if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to make sure that you stay up to date with everything that we put out on the channel. You know, as I've said before, there are tons of interesting creatures in the Wizarding World. Some of them are fierce, and some of them are cuddly, and some of them fall somewhere in between, and I've made a few videos already covering some of these different creatures. So today, I thought that we could take a look at some creatures that may be considered and even kept as pets in the Wizarding World. Now, of course, we already know about owls and toads and cats. Those are common. Everybody knows about those. But there are a few that are a bit less common that you may not have known can be pets or even existed. So here are 6 of the ones that I found that could make great pets for some of us if we ever are lucky enough to get our letter to Hogwarts. For example, if you are a bird lover but you don't necessarily want an owl, how about a Foubert? A Foubert is a bird native to Africa. It's about a foot tall or so, and it is very brilliantly colored in all types of different colors. They come in everything from like purple to pink to lime green, blue, even yellow. Their feathers are so beautiful, in fact, that they're used to make extravagant and fancy quills for special occasions or high-ranking people, or just to have a fancy quill because you like writing with a fancy quill. And another bonus of these guys is that their eggs are very brilliantly patterned, similar to like a Fabergé egg is what I imagine in my head. And while I'm not sure if they're actually ever used for decoration, I'm sure if you wanted to, you probably could. Exercise caution, however, if this is the pet that you choose, because while they are legal to sell and own as pets, although you have to be licensed in order to own one of them, their cry has been known to cause insanity. Because of this, they are mandated to be sold with a silencing charm that actually needs to be refreshed about once a month or so. So you may want to make sure that you are proficient at casting the spell if you choose to have a Foubert as your pet. Otherwise, you may end up like Uruk the Oddball, who for some reason was convinced that the Foubert's song actually had benefits to your mental health, although this was disproven when he showed up to a council meeting wearing nothing but a toupee, which actually turned out to be a dead badger when investigated more thoroughly. Now, if you are still interested in getting a bird but a Foubert doesn't really sound like it's for you because of the song that may drive you insane, well, how about a bird that makes no sound at all? The Knoll is known for just this. Being native to Europe and the Americas, they are very tiny birds, blue in color with little spectacles all over them, and pretty easy to feed because they love insects, and who doesn't want to keep the insects out of their house? And as I mentioned, they make no sound at all until it is time for them to die, in which case they let out a very long scream comprised of all of the sounds they have ever heard throughout their life, backwards. On the plus side, though, if you are a proficient potions brewer, their feathers are used in both truth serums and memory potions, so you get a little bit of benefit there, even if the animal itself is not much of a talking partner. Now, if neither of these birds really seem like they're for you, but you still want something that flies but is a little less maintenance, you can always go with a Gloom Bumble. A Gloom Bumble is a tiny insect-like creature. It is gray and furry and kind of resembles a bumblebee. In fact, they even produce their own honey, which is actually referred to as trickle, and is a melancholy-inducing type of honey, which is a great antidote for hysteria. Be careful if you decide to become a Gloom Bumble keeper. While it is a bit similar to beekeeping, they actually are known to be invasive on beehives and can destroy the honey from regular bees. Now, while they do prefer living in caves and hollowed out trees, they like dark and secluded places, I'm sure that you'll be able to find them a nice and lovely home to build their nests somewhere within your garden. Now, if birds and insects aren't your things and you want something that you can talk to but maybe won't drive you insane while it's making all its noise, you can always try a Jarvey. Resembling an overgrown ferret, Jarveys are native to Britain, Ireland, and North America. How they differ from just being an overgrown ferret, however, which I guess you could technically call a badger, is that they are capable of speech. That's right, Jarveys can talk, but don't expect to get a coherent or even a long conversation out of these creatures because they mostly just spew out short and sometimes very rude phrases. Just kind of like a parrot would in the Muggle world. On the plus side, if you do own a Jarvey and you have a gnome infestation, you can just let the Jarvey loose because gnomes are among their favorite foods, along with moles and rats and voles. And since Jarveys love to live underground, keeping them in your garden as a way to ward off pests will be great. Just be careful if any muggles come by because they may get confused by the talking ferret in your flower bed. So if none of these creatures have tickled your fancy yet, and or you live in a heavily muggle-infested area and need something a little less conspicuous, a little more covert as a pet, you can always go with a krupp. Because krupps, which originated in the southwest of England, although now are imported across the world, resemble a Jack Russell Terrier with the exception that their tails are forked. Now, krupps were a creation completely by wizards, for wizards. This much is obvious by the loyalty that a krupp will show to a wizard, especially once it's become attached to them, and the ferocity and viciousness which they show towards muggles. However, on the plus side, much like a dog, they're really not picky about what they eat. They'll eat anything from gnomes to old tires, and probably any scraps you have left over from dinner as well. You do need a license in order to own this goodest of magical boys because of the fact that they are mean towards muggles, and you need to show that you can control them in a heavily muggle-populated area. On top of all of that, you also need to have their tails clipped by the time they are about 6 to 8 weeks old, or else it will be a dead giveaway to the muggles that their tails are forked. You can achieve clipping their tails with a painless severing charm. They feel no pain. They look just like a little Jack Russell Terrier, and nobody will ever be the wiser. And finally, if you are not a dog person, and you're not a bird person, and you're not a bug person, and you don't want an overgrown rodent in your yard, you can always go with a Measles. Measles are another creature that were originally only in Britain and are now exported worldwide. They resemble cats, except that their fur is flecked or speckled or even spotted like some of the larger cats in the wild. They also have large tufted ears and a tail that resembles a lion's tail, only, on a much smaller cat. Measles are incredibly useful pets to have. One, they can interbreed with cats, giving you one hell of a smart cat because Measles are incredibly clever themselves. They are able to tell a seedy, suspicious person from a good person and are able to warn you as well when somebody is up to do you harm. On top of all of that, if you happen to be out on a walk or for whatever reason find yourself far from home and cannot find your way back, a Measles has a great sense of direction and can bring you home with little to no effort, making sure that you arrive safe and sound at your destination. Now, Measles again require a license to own because of the fact that they are easily interbred with cats. How confusing it would be for a Muggle cat owner to suddenly have a part Measles cat at their house. It is also a benefit to anybody who owns a Measles that they are so easily interbred with cats because you can breed them like Miss Fig is known to do. And Measles produce up to 8 kittens per litter, so you can definitely have your hands full with these guys. So guys, which of these 6 creatures would you like to have as a pet, or are none of the things you are interested in on this list? Let me know in the comment section down below and throw a thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see me do more lists of things you can have as pets or creatures you didn't know existed in the magical world, let me know in the comment section or let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. Until the next one, guys, stay safe and watch out for those Dementors.